Hello, everybody.
What up? What up?
My name is Tim Daniel. His name is Ben Brown, and welcome to another fantastic Sunday night edition of Late Night Reds here on the Riverfront, brought to you by the Blue Wire Media Network. And we are going to bring back the fun in talking Reds baseball this week, guys. We are going to
Let's
be
get it.
positive. We're going to be optimistic. We're going to be like, this rules, right?
Let's go. Let's go.
We're gonna touch a little bit on the fact they only got one in this Mets series, but the Mets are like incredible right now. I think they've won 10 in a row. Like they won 9 in a row going to today. So you catch that team at a bad time. But hey, before we get started, congrats! Nice
buddy.
W this weekend.
Absolutely, man. It was I tell people all the time, like, this is the first time, and I was at Boone County. It's the first time I'd beaten Ryle since like 2011. So it felt really good to finally get that one. And our kids, they were resilient. They stuck with it, and it was good, man. It was a lot of fun. I tell you what, I've been a part of high school football for the better part of 30 years, and that was a top 5 environment all time. Playing in a high school football game. I mean, it was incredible. I mean, there were people all over. The fans were into it. The student sections were both live. Like it was incredible. So, shout out to our kids for just being resilient and playing it all the way to the end. And it was a fun game.
Dude, so I think let me look up the account. I shared it on my Instagram story. There's a picture of the pic Isaac had. It's from WD Fletcher _photography. And I'm just going to pull this up real quick. And I don't have it to where I can show it on the screen. But this picture of Isaac's interception is just like phenomenal.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that's unbelievable. I know you can't really get a great shot of it from my phone. But yeah, WD Fletcher _photography has a pic of Isaac's interception from Friday night, and it looks like something like Darrelle Revis used to do in the picture.
Yeah, man.
He got like a nice angle of that. So
yeah, he did. It was pretty cool, man. We have a ton of shout out to all the people that come and shoot our games. I mean, we've got a ton of just really good photographers and people that invest in our kids and in high school sports, man. And it's just really cool that those people come out and do that, and they spend their time and their money and their energy shooting our kids, man. And like I said, when I get on social media stuff, I always try to give them praise because I know how important that is for
sure
for them and the time that they take to come and shoot our kids, man. It's really cool. So I was very, very pleased.
Yeah, absolutely. Also, got to point out real quick. Notice the threads today.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, man. Grace made this for me.
Get out of here.
Yeah, so for those who live in the area, Kenton County Public Library has the Erlanger branch has that thing where they can do like everything. They have a 3D printer, they have embroidery, they have t-shirt press, they have, you name it, they can do it for you there. And so she's been doing all the trainings there, and she goes, why don't I just make you a couple shirts you can wear for the show? And then I was like, all right, cool, let's do it. So yeah, she made me this one. She made a black one. So I told her I got to get you a couple as well.
Yeah, gosh, yeah, man, those are sick.
Yeah, so if anyone wants one, shoot me a message on whatever socials, and I'm sure we'll get you squared away.
Dude, your wife has many talents. She's incredible.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous.
She is awesome.
She learns all this stuff on top of being a mom, which is like nuts.
Yeah.
So
shout out Grace, dude. Yeah, that's legit. That's
awesome. It turned out awesome. Like she made one that like I was like it didn't fully like press, and she was like, yeah, she's like it was pretty cheap. So yeah, Sydney says finally someone else with a pod tee. That's right. Sydney has the only Late Night Reds t-shirt I've ever purchased. It's a legit true story. If anyone does want a Late Night Reds tee, they are at riverfrontcincy.com. So how about that? So let's go ahead and let's talk about it. So Friday, you lose 6-4 to the Mets. I think that realistically, you kind of knew what the season was at this point. Obviously, no one here is showing you anything that's shocking.
Yeah.
But
Right.
Brandon Williamson in a bullpen day doesn't start the game, but gets the bulk of the innings. Looks really, really good for 4 2/3. Obviously, for obvious reasons, I know you did not get to watch the game, so that's all right. And so I don't know if this is me educating you, if you caught the box score, but he looked good.
Yeah. I went back through and I did see some of the box score stuff, and actually, funny enough, when I got home, the replay was on, so I was kind of watching a little bit
Oh,
there
okay.
before I crashed out. But yeah, he looked solid, man. He looked solid.
Yeah, and then Saturday they lose 4-0, but it certainly was not. And I have to make sure I get this right. I'm still getting used to him being on the team. I believe it actually is pronounced, and someone can correct me, Jakob Eunice,
I
not
was going to say I
Jacob.
thought it was Jakob Eunice.
Jakob Eunice, but 5 really solid innings, was really, really good. Baseball Reference has him as Baseball Reference says he was pronunciation on there. What the H, guys? No, they have his last name, which is like super easy. So it's Junis. Okay, so I actually was wrong. It's Jakob Junis.
Okay.
But anyway, 5 really good innings. It's been a really nice piece from that Frankie Montas trade.
Yeah.
And then today, I mean, they're down 1-0. And did you see the Ellie play? He made another one of those insane, like at shortstop, runs it down and left field catches.
Yeah,
like,
dude. Yeah, it's just freakish stuff.
Yeah,
just absolutely freakish stuff.
Noelvin Marte hits a solo shot to tie the game up, and then Santiago Espinal brings it home with the 2-runner in the 9th. Julian Aguilar went pretty good 4 2/3 today. 2 strikeouts, 2 hits, and Alexis Diaz nails the door down.
Yeah.
And so good day all around for the Redlegs. And so obviously wanted to make sure we touched on that before we get to the other fun stuff. Ben, I know we don't really have to do a deep dive into the Mets series because we know what it is at this point. And
yeah.
Like we said, we want to keep it positive. We want to make sure we're having fun this week. And I want to talk about Rhett Lowder's game against the Astros on Thursday because we just talked about last week with his first start. We felt like he got pulled too soon. He had another inning in him. But dude goes out there against the AL West leading Houston Astros, who have former MVPs in their lineup, guys who have won World Series, dudes who have done it all. And yeah, he had to battle some stuff. 4 walks is 4 walks. You expect that from a guy making his second big league start. But man, 6 1/3, 4 hits, no runs given up, 3 strikeouts. They won that game 1-0. And Rhett Lowder kept them alive in the game, kept them off the board. And so I want to talk about this game particularly, but I also want to get into this, Ben, as I hear your dogs are a lot of the mine for this episode. It's a first.
Yeah, stupid. anytime somebody walks in the house, it's like the first time they've ever seen them.
I know. My dogs do the same thing.
I'm like, come on. Like, bro, like we walk in and out of this house 50 times a day, and every time we get the same reaction. I'm like, what are you barking at? Like, we're the same people you just saw.
Buddy, I get it. I totally get it. I'm with you. My dogs are insane.
Yeah, it's just wild.
So obviously Lowder, like I kind of said last week, you saw why he was taken when he was taken, but this game was for sure like holy moly, and this is his second start. And I was just trying to think about, we do this thing all the time where we just kind of rip on everything and this is terrible and this sucks. And obviously it's not been a fun year, but I got to thinking and I was sitting down, and I know no one's going to disagree with my comment here, but the Reds are at this point now for the future as their rotation. And I do want them to go get another starter in the offseason. I really do, to go with the guys. But if Hunter Green hits his apex, which we saw like glimpses of it this year, if Nick Lodolo hits his apex, and then you add Rhett Lowder to that and potentially Chase Burns, that is redundant. That's okay. I'm not gonna say it's Glavin, Smoltz, Maddox-esque because that's not fair to compare anybody to that.
No, because that's incredible.
But that is, could you say Pettit, Clemens era Yankees? Solid?
I mean those 4 right there, and you didn't even mention Lodolo. I mean, so I mean, you know, if those guys come in and are as solid as they've shown, you're setting yourself up to have quite the rotation here in the next 3 to 5 years of just dominating pitching. The thing that most impressed me about Lowder, and honestly, truly, um, the walks don't bother me.
Yeah.
I'm not too concerned about that. The thing that impressed me the most is that I really enjoyed the fact that he attacked hitters.
Mm-hmm.
Like he didn't run. He didn't run from their lineup. Like
Yeah, he wasn't
that
scared of
lineup
Jose
is
Altuve.
yeah. Like that lineup is a pretty potent lineup. I mean, and that team has a lot of experience, a lot of depth. They are World Series contenders. And he attacked that lineup. He was constantly in the zone. He was making good pitches. He was doing things that you usually see veteran pitchers do. And he was doing that out of his second start. He also they got him up to, 82 pitches.
Yeah.
And 55 of those were strikes, which is a really good rate. I mean, he's in the zone and he's challenging batters. And that's kind of what you want out of your starters, right? You want somebody that's going to challenge those guys, but not give up, not pitch, not make dumb decisions, but also give those guys an opportunity. They're going to get hit. They're professional hitters. Let your fielders field and let's do what we do and let's get out of innings. So it was good to see that part where he was able to battle that lineup and get you to 6 1/3 of just solid baseball.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I think that too with him, what really jumps out to me is, and this is probably from obviously pitching high level college baseball.
Mm-hmm.
When you look at Hunter, where Hunter was at this point, and I think Hunter's certainly a better pitcher. I'm not trying to say anything there, and that's not an insult by any stretch of Rhett Lowder, but he's more poised than Hunter was at this point. And what I mean by that is the sense that if he has a questionable call, you don't see it. Like, remember Hunter used to kind of like have a situation where if a pitch got away from him, it kind of got him down, and he was If like there's a questionable call and the umpire gives a ball, he just takes the ball, takes a breath, and goes right back at it. And Hunter's gotten to that point for sure.
Right.
But
for sure.
Where Lowder's at now, I think you could certainly make it. Now, obviously, there's an age difference too, from then and now. But I think Lowder's definitely kind of probably better in that circumstance. Doesn't throw as hard, obviously, but able to kind of control the strike zone better. But yeah, man, like you said, the fact that he just attacked, he wasn't afraid of Yordan Alvarez being in the box. He wasn't afraid of Jose Altuve being in the box. He just kind of did his thing, moved through it, and got going. And I loved it, man. I think that, and Carrie talked about this earlier before we went live. I always love that Carrie leaves us some comments before the show starts. Talks to Hunter coming back for some short inning stuff at this point. Love it. Brett Lowder's doing great. Brandon Williamson, Junis, as we just learned from Baseball Reference pronunciations. I think that the Reds' depth is making it really interesting for the sense of, I just did this lately on, I filled in for the Riverfront Red show on Friday this week, which we did a really fun all 1980s Cincinnati Reds draft. I definitely lost, but I had the best pitching of anybody. I'm just going to go and make sure I put it out there. Mario Soto and John Franco is really hard to beat. Just going to go and say that.
You're going to say, you're not beating that.
Yeah. But I think that what really kind of jumped out to me was the conversation I had of, I don't know if Graham Ashcraft or Andrew Abbott are going to be here next year, in the sense that I could see a situation where they have a Matt Latos type trade. Not Matt Latos, the person. I'm not referencing that, but I'm going back
to the player. Right.
The 2012, what they got in 2012 from him, especially in the second half, when they had to give up a ton of guys to get him, realistically, it was worth it for the 3 years he was here. 12 and 13, especially, he was really good. And I could see a situation where maybe one or two of those guys are bundled into another deal like that. And so getting those guys certainly makes that better for multiple reasons. But that dude is, but like what you got from Lowder today kind of makes you feel better about that, in the sense that what if Graham Ashcraft realistically does have to go to the bullpen at some point, if he's going to still be in the Reds organization? You feel better about that now. Or, Ty Floyd's a guy who's still coming up who I'm pretty high on. I know there's like indifferent opinions on him in the system, but he was on that LSU team with Dylan Cruz and Paul Skeens. I think he's going to be really good, but he's probably more of a setup closer kind of guy, whatever that means to people. But yeah, man, I thought that was awesome. I'm so excited. He's going to get the ball. If I have my calculations correct, he's going to get the ball in the first Cardinals game. And that's going to be really good. Yeah, City mentioned. I didn't even talk about Chase Petty. So Chase Petty, he's been awesome. He's been super good the last couple months in Chattanooga. I guess he's just getting the call up to Louisville to be part of the playoff series. Their playoff chase. Yeah,
I like that. I like that. Give him as much experience as possible in big time situations. That's sure. I like that. I
just forgot to mention this, but shout out both A-ball teams, the Daytona Tortugas and the Dayton Dragons, both going to the playoffs for their leagues.
Oh yeah.
Do your things, boys. Get your titles.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so I am super stoked for that. Tom Nichols of the Dayton Dragons, he's the director of media, guys. He was on the original rendition of Late Night Reds, and he got to call the out that they got to make the playoffs, and he's been a part of the Dragons he saw Joey Votto as a 20-year-old, so he's been around there a long time. So getting to see him have that moment was really, really cool, and I really hope those guys can go get a W. And if you've been to that ballpark, it's such a cool stadium, and the fans really care. You obviously know about the sellout streak. So sorry, got us off track a little bit. Want to make sure I gave some love to the Dragons and the Tortugas. So Ben, this week is all about just discussing if guys we could see having roles for this team for 25 and beyond. This is what it was about. And so Rhett Lowder, we know, has a role in the Reds for the future. So I wanted to bring a couple guys in that maybe have more of a role than we thought they would as we go on. And one of those names I really wanted to discuss is Tony Santiago. And so I want to make mention of this real quick before we get to this. So for those who are watching on the YouTube, I have Santiago's numbers for the season so far. 21 outings, 2-2, 2.35 ERA, 0.91 WHIP, 37 strikeouts, 8 walks, 23 innings pitched, which is really impressive. Here's the more impressive part about it. He was called back up to the big league roster on July 13th. So he has thrown the ball a lot because he had to come back up. Was a starter in a bullpen day, but mostly pitched out of the bullpen. And for him, his guys really had a lot of up and down. He was part of a team. He's been up with the big league roster and had success. He's been designated for assignment and cleared waivers to where no other big league team wanted him to bring him to their system, and the Reds got him back, which really ended up being a blessing, obviously. But as a guy that I don't know if I want to say figured it out, but you can definitely see he's more confident and he feels more comfortable when it's his turn to come out of the gate and take the mound. And I almost wonder, we had this conversation last week about how many guys currently on the major league roster do you trust to be on the 2025 team? Right. And I don't know if I'm penciling him in, but if he breaks next year as part of the major league bullpen, I feel okay about it. I'm starting to feel I think he's earned the right to have that conversation.
No, I would agree with that. I think that he is, for the short amount of time that he's been back up with the big league roster, he's been very solid. He's probably been one of our more solid relievers that we've had. So I would feel safe to say that he would be a guy that you're going to, if he wound up being on the bullpen roster next year, I wouldn't be mad about it. I think that he's got some pretty lively stuff, and he's able to come in and get outs, which is what you need out of your bullpen guys. So I wouldn't be mad about it for sure. I think that he would do a great job.
Yeah. So if you look at his Baseball Savant page, he obviously doesn't qualify for the percentiles,
right?
But where his numbers are is a lot of red. Expected ERA is 1.93. Expected opponent batting average is 161. His fastball velocity is in 97 percentile. Whiff percentage in the 31.5 percentile. Strikeout rate in the 40.2 percentile. Barrel only 4.4%. So he's not giving up a lot of hard hits. Sydney says right here, he's been their best reliever since coming up, and there's no denying that. I think he's been awesome. And he's a guy that you want to root for, man. He's been through hell and back in his baseball career. He's like I said, he's been sent down. He's been called back up. He's been designated. He's cleared waivers. He's broken camp in the big leagues. He's been injured and had to battle back. So obviously those are the guys you want to see win. And I think when you've had situations like Fernando Cruz, who just tired out and got to the point where he was really struggling, and I can't believe I'm saying this, but the fact that Tony Santiago and Buck Farmer have really picked up the slack from
They
feeling like he was
have.
getting tired is
They
not
have.
that we're talking about that. Yeah, Josh, he really was good a couple years ago. He absolutely was. I think that was
Yeah.
the 22 season. He was pretty solid, which obviously no one wants to talk about the 22 year, maybe 21. I don't have it in front of me.
Yeah.
But yeah, he definitely was really, really good for that time. So I really like him. I think that it's been great. Like Sydney said, I agree. He's been their best reliever since he got called up, called back on the big league club. Bullpen, I'm starting to feel a little better about for the future, in the sense of him. I think Brent Suter's been pretty good in the big picture. I think Emilio Pagan could potentially have a bounce back next year. Carrie, you are burying my lead. Yeah, I do.
What makes you think that? I mean, I'm not
sure
on him, but yeah, what makes you feel that way?
So the ballpark is definitely concerning, right? I understand that
Yeah.
part, that he's going to have to take he's got to take the ball quite a bit of GABP because this team's going to play 81 games there. But I do feel like with how his stuff is really good.
Yeah.
And so I do feel like he's going to kind of make something happen. I just think that at some point you bet on talent, and he's a talented pitcher.
Yeah.
So I think I feel comfortable with him. Sydney says, I've waited for you to cover on a Buck Farmer, Tim. That's Hey. So look,
finally the Buck Farmer love.
I'm about to give two guys in this show flowers that I didn't think I was going to. So shout out Buck Farmer being really, really solid. I don't know how long it's going to last, but I'm going to enjoy the ride while it's there, and I'm not going to complain about it. So man. So let's kind of get to the positional players / offensive players. Carrie, I guess we can do it first. Carrie's over here bearing leads. We'll get to the other guy in a second.
We got you, Carrie. We got you.
Santiago Espinal. I really, the comment I made. Damn it. Okay. I have to back up like 4 times and make sure I make my joke that I was going to make about Rhett Lowder against the Astros, because it's not funny anymore, but I have to get it off because I'm a dad and I have to make crappy jokes. But Rhett Lowder was so good against the Astros, you would have thought he was wearing a wire. All right, back to the show.
There it is. There you go. There it is. There it is.
All right. So if you look at Santiago Espinal, I think at this point, and so Josh says he's going to be on the big league club next year. Absolutely, he's a part of this team next year. Yeah. What his role is going to be the bigger question, because I think they're going to really still bet on Noelvi Marte. I still would bet on Noelvi Marte, even though I know this year has been a disaster. There's no other way to put it. It's been a nightmare. But when a guy like Santiago Espinal, who can play a good infield, who is giving opportunities to play corner outfield and makes contact and doesn't strike out, that guy is going to play. Do I wish he would walk more? For sure. Do I wish he would work a count more? Yes. But do I think he could be could he be the super utility guy the Reds have been searching for since Ryan Friel? The thing they wanted Nick Senzel to be, the thing they wanted, Jack Hanahan. Does anyone remember Jack Hanahan? Am I just making names up to the people at this point?
No, I'm with you. No, I'm with you.
But it feels like that role is made for him, for the 2025 team, to be the kind of, we need you to play in quarter outfield today. We need you to DH today. All right, we're going to need you to play short one day. We're going to need you to play third, maybe second here. I don't know. He's probably going to play first base at some point because everybody plays first base for the Reds one way or another. But I think he might actually be the super utility guy that they really want him to be for the future.
Yeah, I think that, I think we talked about this last week. I think he's earned that. He's earned the opportunity to be on this roster next year, and be guy they want to steer to be. That's a good point. Yeah. But I think he's definitely earned that right with his play. He's had, having one big at bat is luck, but he's had big at bats in several games for us consistently.
For sure. Yeah.
So I think he's earned that right to be able to be that guy and be that utility guy that you bring up in big time situations, or you plug him in a lineup, kind of anywhere when you give a guy a day off, or you give a guy, or you have an injury. I think he doesn't make your lineup drop off as much, having him around to be a plug and play guy. So he's been absolutely better than advertised. I mean, when we were talking at the beginning of the season, we were like, he'll get some at bats, he'll do some things here or there, he'll be but dude, he's been in some of these games. I mean, he's saved us. I mean, his at bats have been just crucial. Even like today, like, I mean, a 2-run double to put us up the win, to break a Mets win streak. I mean, those
Queens.
are things like that. Like, in Queens. I mean, so he's done things like that kind of all year. So I would love to see him be there. I mean, I don't think he can start every day. Not saying that he's a bad player, but hopefully our lineup is healthy where he doesn't have to be that guy, but he could be a guy, like you said, who's a utility guy. You can plug in here or there when somebody needs a day off or you have an injury, and his at bat doesn't make you fall off as much having his bat in the lineup for sure.
I completely agree. So Sydney says here, and this, I totally agree with this. I thought,
yeah, absolutely.
She said, I thought he was washed and was another Mike Ford when they got him. I did too. I mean, the fact that it was like Edwin Arroyo gets hurt and they're like, well, we got to go get, and then Matt McClain gets hurt. And it's like, well, crap, we need to go get somebody. Toronto, can you send us this guy? And that deal sounds like it felt like it broke within like 10 minutes of the Matt McClain news. And you're like, all right, cool. He was an all-star a couple years ago, wasn't very good last year. And Toronto just gave him away. So maybe this isn't what maybe this isn't going to be all that good. And it's been awesome for this team.
It has been.
We'll just make sure I make mention of this too. So last 30 games, his slash line, 367, 415, 541, 3 homers, 17 RBI, 13 runs scored.
Wow.
Yeah.
He's been really good.
Really, really good. And that's not even talking about the fact that it's been like, so here's how he's played around the field. So far, 29 games at second, 57 at third, 6 at short, 6 in left field, 2 in right field. So this is kind of
that's his role.
City's burying leads too for us. All right. So come on, people. You guys gotta let us have the show before you start bringing things up in the conversations. I'm kidding. Yeah, man, just been really, really, really solid. Been really happy to see. I'm excited to see what he looks like in this team. Can I make mention of something real quick?
Absolutely.
Before we move on. So Jonathan India leaves the game today with elbow discomfort. And the way that old Gordo puts it out there, Gordo is not very good at tweeting and not making people hate him, obviously. But Gordo goes, Jonathan India leaves the game today in the 6th inning with elbow discomfort. He's been dealing with it for a while. Why the hell has he been playing then if he's been dealing with this for a while? There's nothing to play for. There's nothing going on here. Like, what are we doing? If that's really the case, which, I don't know, granted, Gordo may stretch the truth because he's that kind of guy. But not I shouldn't be as mean to him as I am, but I think the Inquirer sans Charlie Goldsmith, I think the Inquirer has been, and Shelby Dermer, because that's my dog, and Scott Springer, of course, has been kind of rough for a little while now. But anyway, what if he's really dealing with something, and maybe that's the explanation for why he's slumped so much for about a couple months now?
Yeah.
Why is he out there?
Yeah.
If Santiago Espinal's doing this, and you got Ellie, you got Marte.
Doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
And the other point to this is, if he's been dealing with this for a while, and you've been playing him through it, why did you not capitalize when you had the best opportunity to trade him?
Mm-hmm.
You had the best chance to move him by the deadline this year because of how well he was playing.
Yep.
And now it's like, oh, he's been really hurt and he's been really struggling. And it's like, great, we're right back to square one with Jonathan India.
Yep. Now he's damaged goods again.
Yep. He's like Toy Story 2 and Woody's got his arm like kind of
Got his
wristed, but
arm dangling the
yeah,
thing, Fred.
yeah. That's what Jonathan India is like right now. Or like Big
Yeah.
Al's Toy Barn's taking him to like get like
Yep.
get his stuff put together. BT Dubs, what's your favorite Toy Story movie? This is an important question for our friendship.
Oh, Toy Story 2 is probably my favorite.
Okay,
honestly.
I'm with you.
Yeah. Toy Story 2. Toy Story 2 was legit.
I think 3 is probably the best movie, but I think 2 is more fun.
Yeah, 2 is definitely more fun.
Yeah. Yeah, Josh, this could be fair. Team leader doesn't want to come out, but I think you protect the asset, and when your season doesn't mean a thing at this point, right?
Yeah.
But it's the Reds. No one knows anything about injuries, and everything's fine until it's not, which is normally like a week later. So, what did I joke about a couple weeks ago with when was it TJ Friedel?
It was Friedel, yeah.
I was like, oh well, he's gonna have dysentery, and it's gonna be like everything's fine. No, Hunter Green. Yeah. All right, back to the show. You guys know I like to go in my little things here. By the way, we're running really quick through this, so feel free to send any questions, comments, whatever, and we'll look at them. Actually, let's do this. Josh Beckley, I hope Benson will be in AAA to start next year. He definitely has things to work on. Further will get traded, and we get some legit outfielders with some pop. Yes, I talked about this week on the Front Red Show. I saw Stephen Offenbaker talk about this quite a bit. I think the Reds should go get 3 outfielders.
Yep.
I just really think just rebuild the outfield, go all out, go get dudes. And like we mentioned last week, it's a good market. It's not, don't get me wrong. Juan Soto's not coming to Cincinnati. I'm well aware of that.
Correct.
But I do think that there are plenty of dudes that are better than what you have right now that can make your team better, even if you want to go the platoon route. I just am sticking with the platoon route. One more thing that jumped out to me that I totally did not notice until today. When did Jesse Winker start playing for the Mets? Did I assume it was at the trade deadline, but I'm watching it. I'm like, did not recall that going across my timeline.
No, that happened. It was right around the trade deadline, I thought.
I was like, what is going on there? So yeah, I saw Jesse Winker and I was like,
he had like a walk-off home run the other day too.
Yeah, it doesn't look right in a Mets uni.
No, I don't like it.
Yeah, it doesn't look right in a Mets uni. That was like when Jay Bruce was playing for the Mets. I was like,
ugh, that was brutal.
Yeah. So Josh, that's 3 weeks ago. Okay, so it's I wasn't naive. It just was something that I just didn't see pop up. But let's talk about old Ty France here, shall we? Talking about guys that could have roles going forward. Dude, Ty France really been freaking good, man. So 34 games with the Reds so far, has an 831 OPS, has 4 homers, 12 RBI, 35 hits, 14 runs, and the funniest portion of this, has a stolen base.
Yeah.
You got this Mets series.
Yeah, I know a couple. Was it last week or maybe 2 weeks ago? We were talking about his future as a Red, and
he's got team control for next year.
Yeah. So, I mean, gosh, the way he's playing now, I mean, you almost kind of have to keep him. I mean, he's playing really well. He's he seems to be a good fit. And he's a guy that, if he plays to this level as far as all-star level, I mean, it does nothing but bolster your lineup, which is nice.
He has been an all-star. So back in the Seattle days. I had to make sure I mentioned this before we continue the conversation.
I know, I saw.
Cydia says, can we pour out one out for the Dom Smith era? Oh man. I feel like, do you remember like was it 2010? They got Willie Bloomquist, and Mo used to always make fun of that. He just always laugh about it. I feel like the Dom Smith, Matt Kemp, those kind of it's definitely amongst it. Jason Marquis.
Yep.
Jason Marquis started on opening day. Let's just never forget that happened. But back to Ty France, who I thought was going to be like Dom Smith and has been the polar opposite. Yeah, man. I think that obviously if all goes as planned, CES is your everyday first baseman next year.
Yeah.
But you have him to kind of come out there and be your bench bat and be a DH for you. Don't think that really hurts your team at all. So, and I meant to mention this with Santiago Espinal as well. They have 2 more years of control on Espinal too. So.
Oh, really?
These two guys are actually pretty solidly in a good situation financially for the team and personally.
Yeah.
So I wanted to make sure that when I dove into that today, I saw that, and the Reds are paying him $1 million this year. Seattle's picking up majority of that contract because of where things were. Okay, so I have to mention this. It came up the other day on the Riverfront, but just looking at comments, so Bubba Thompson got called up from Chattanooga to Louisville for the playoff race, right?
Okay.
Did you see this video?
No.
Okay, mind you, Bubba Thompson was on the big league roster to start the season.
I was going to say, he was on the big league.
When Friedel came back the first time, he got sent to Double-A.
Yeah.
He's been in Double-A all year. There's this video of everyone celebrating him getting caught up to the Louisville. It's like his manager does the whole thing you always see
the whole announcement thing.
Everyone's like jumping up and down, like pouring water.
Come on. Are you serious? I did not see that.
Yeah, it's hilarious. And I was like,
oh my god.
Joe brought it up on the Riverfront Red Show this week, so I went and looked it up afterwards, and it was so funny. Way to go to AAA! You were on the big league club for the this year.
Right, you started the year on the big league club, and now you're making your way back to AAA. Let's have a celebration.
So I mentioned earlier, I think Chase Petty was going to AAA. I think I'm wrong when I meant that was the Bubba Thompson clip. Which, how could you not confuse Bubba Thompson and Chase Petty, guys? Right?
Geez.
Right. Like they're 6 of one and half a dozen the other, right? Oh man. But Ty France, yeah, I like him a lot. I think what we're getting from him is really awesome. I thought he would hit more homers at GPP.
Do you think he's opening day starter over CES, or you think
I hope not.
CES? You think CES is the guy?
For the sake of the Reds, he better be.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'll say.
No, I agree.
But I think he's been pretty good, and
yeah,
I think that for getting him for nothing,
right?
You'll take that. For him being a DFA guy. And the Reds have obviously had this really fun relationship with the Mariners for the past few years where they're like just swapping guys like two friends swapping baseball cards at recess. Like, let me take this one out of my binder and I'll give you this one. You give me that one. I'll put it in my binder comfortably on this page. It's basically what it is. But it feels like I'm comfortable with those guys being right-handed bats for this team next year.
Okay.
I do want to see them obviously get some left-handed bats as well to be on that bench. I've mentioned I'm sick of platoon guys. I just want dudes who can play all the time. And I don't know if that's a possibility with this front office. But I think those two have been really, really good. And yes, Sydney mentions Amin Rosario. Under the radar guy has been solid as well. Should I say under the radar? Is that incorrect of me? But, he's been okay. Like numbers haven't been very good, but for the Reds per se, but on the season, they've been pretty solid. I think I'm out on Blake Dunn.
You're out on Blake Dunn?
I think so.
Okay.
I think he's talented, and I understand he's not gotten consistent big league at bats to get comfortable.
Yeah.
But looking at what things look like when he's in a game, remember Josh Van Meter got really hot in the minors that year before he got called up to the big league team? I'm getting those vibes. And I understand Blake Dunn was minor league player of the year last year, as many people told us in our YouTube comments earlier this year.
Yeah.
But when we say we need outfielders, I'm really hoping that does not mean that Blake Dunn and Jacob Hurtubise are the guys that they're giving the chance to be big league outfielders.
No, I agree. If you want to make this team successful, you got to go outside of our system to go get guys. You know, and I thought you guys brought up a good point with revamping our outfield. And like I said, it's nothing against Fraley and Friedel and these guys, but we need we need we need some guys in there with some pop. We need some guys in there that have played outfield consistently, and will be everyday threats in our lineup. Like you know, your outfielders usually set the tone for your whole lineup. So it would be nice that they go out and get guys, three consistent guys that have played the outfield and know what they're doing, and can contribute to a lineup that's going to be. I mean, it's going to be a really good lineup if you're, you know, you're looking at getting McLean back. You know, if Marte is decent. You know, if CES comes back to form, Matt McLean is healthy. So I mean, you've got some core guys there that are solid. Jake Spencer Steer. I mean, that's five guys right there that are already.
And you didn't even mention Ellie.
Yeah, and then Ellie. I mean, that's six. So
yeah,
that's six guys. I mean, that's those guys there that you can. You just need guys around those guys to complement what you already have. You know, so that you can, you know, be solid all the way through. So I'm hoping that they go out, and I'm not even saying go get three outfielders. I mean, it would be nice if they went and got all three and did it, but just be aggressive. Just at least go get a couple guys, man. Just be aggressive. You got really honestly nothing to lose, and you got everything to gain because, like I said, you put some decent guys around the lineup that you're already going to have or projected starters. We're going to be all right. We're going to be all right. But they got to invest in that. They got to invest in it for sure.
Oh boy. Carrie says, let me pull this up. This is fun. Hear me out, guys. I'm going outside the box. Pay for Soto for 1 year. Reds invest into Soto, Ellie, Dom, Rep Academy, Dominican Republic. Pay back the country to the country that they love. If Juan Soto suits up for the Cincinnati Reds, Lord doesn't want to know what happened to this podcast. I might jump through this window. I might legitimate hysteria will occur. But
yeah.
Josh says, go ahead.
No. I mean, it would be incredible if he did.
But I'm not holding my breath ever.
But
The
Reds history doesn't prove that they would go out and get a guy like that.
So another dig at the Inquirer here that really frustrated me when they talk about the Reds. When Joey retired, Jason Williams did the whole we blah blah blah. We should appreciate it more article, which is fair.
Mm-hmm.
But he says in the article, they probably should not have given him that contract in the first place, and that annoyed the shit out of me because I don't understand what people expected.
Mm-hmm.
He did every damn thing here in that contract and then some. And we're going to talk. I know we'll talk about that for eternity.
Yeah.
But what's up, Mr. Juan? Yeah, Mr. Juan. We're getting Juan Soto. We want Juan Soto. But the fact that we're having this conversation about this team needs to win, this team needs to keep their really good players together, and you're bitching that Joey Votto got that contract, which big picture was a bargain, and you're like, you should not have gotten that contract.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, people that complain about that contract and complain about Joey Votto and like they're just not big picture people. Like they just don't see how much he meant to the Reds, how much he meant to the lineup, how much he meant to the city, all the positive things that he was able to do and produce and play. Like, yeah, honestly, like you said, we got a deal. We
got a deal.
Yeah, we got a deal. Like we undersold him like crazy. So for people that don't get it, they'll never get it, and that's okay. You'll just be the people that are lost in the weeds.
So I think about this a lot with the sense that I think people have tried to say one of the dumb things I'm hearing in this stupid debate of him not being a Hall of Famer is, well, he only has one MVP. My guy, check this out. These are all the years Joey Votto received votes for MVP. 2009, 2010, where he won it, 2011, 2012, 2013, 2015, 2016, 2017, 2021. He got MVP votes, Ben, in majority of his years in the majors. And you're going to tell me this guy's not a Hall of Famer? Get the F out of here with that BS.
Yeah. I don't understand. Like, I don't think people understand how hard it is to be an MVP of something. Like, just because people, I think people got, like, they look at a guy like Barry Bonds who has like 6 or 7 of them. But I'm like, you don't understand how difficult that is to replicate that year in, year out, even just to get votes to be MVP.
For sure.
To be that consistent for that long. And especially on a lot of teams that were bad, dude. Like, a lot of those Reds teams he played on were not good. So in order for you to be mentioned in MVP conversations on not very good teams, like, that's just the level of consistency I don't think people understand or get.
Yeah. Believe me, I will preach Joey Votto love forever. Josh Beckley says, so the 5 years, $300 million gets us for the L years, so you can sign another big contract elsewhere. We can dream, damn it. We can dream, damn it. We can dream. If the Indiana Pacers are going to fork out big money for Tyrese Halliburton, then the Cincinnati Reds can fork out big money for Elly De La Cruz and Juan Soto. Okay.
Let's hope.
Yeah, absolutely. Man, this is fun. We got a lot of good.
I wonder if Juan Soto was like, you know what? I just want to play with Elly for 1 year. Give me a 1 year, $12 million. Let's make it happen.
They're buds. They are buddies. Elly worked out with them this offseason.
I just want to play with Elly. Let's just do this. Let's just do 5 years. Like, let's do 5 years, $60 million. Let's just knock this out. Let's all be
friends. Let's have some fun together. You know, full on.
I don't really need the money. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I got plenty for my Nike contract. I just played for the Yankees. I got a ring already. Let's have some fun. We're good. Yeah. I mean, Elly and him worked out together in the offseason this past offseason, so rock it. You know, World Baseball Classic's coming up in a couple of years. You know, they're both going to be on the Dominican team. This is I'm well aware that we are like full on Bon Jovi living on a prayer here, but it's a fun conversation.
But look, dude, at some point you got to dream. You got to dream big, right? You know what I mean? Like, I mean, you got to throw your hat in the ring, right? Like,
yeah.
I mean, I just don't think that you can't not think about that.
Yeah,
I just don't think you can't not think about that.
Yeah, is that at least got to be like written on the whiteboard?
Somewhere, I mean, it's like your vision board, right? You know what I mean? Like Juan Soto.
Vision board.
You got a vision board of Juan Soto sitting in a Reds uniform. You know what I mean? Right next to Elly De La Cruz.
You get your Photoshop department just put that together.
Why not?
Yeah. While we're at it, can we just get new uniforms? Because the Reds ones are horrendous. The City Connects, they can stay. Everything else. Ooh, Mr. Juan, you are an out of the park player? Okay. I love out of the park baseball. I haven't played in a couple years, but it is really fun.
Oh, hold on. What is that? What's out of the park?
So out of the park baseball is a computer game where you basically, it's not like, you know, the show where you're like in there like playing games. You're building lineups and you simulate.
Okay.
And so it's pretty neat. It's like, and you can play really at any time. I remember they sent me a free code a couple years ago to try it out because I was tweeting about it with you'll laugh at this. Of all people I was tweeting about this game with, Steve Carino.
Oh wow.
And
crazy.
And all of a sudden I get an email from the developers that says, hey, would you like a free copy and would you review the game for us? And I was like, sure.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
It's a baseball management sim. Yeah. So you put a team together and you simulate to see how well they'll do. And it's kind of neat because you could do a current year or you can, and then like move forward. You can go back to the 1800s and put a lineup together.
Geez.
Yeah. It's pretty neat.
That's pretty cool.
Maybe we should get them on the show so we can get free codes again.
Yeah, absolutely. That sounds pretty sick.
Yeah, it's super. Yeah, and they keep up to date with stats too, which is really, really cool.
All right. So my second question is, you are not a fan of the Reds uniforms. What would you do?
Okay. This is a Chad Dotson conversation him and I have had via text message many of times.
Yeah.
And I know that this would not happen. But if I were Nike, which, as we know, I am Team Nike till I die. I
Yeah.
will never wear a sneaker brand for anyone else. I am a Notre Dame football fan and refuse to wear Under Armour. All right, like that's where I'm at with the swoosh. If I do, I Bo Jackson it. I put the tape over the logo.
Over the logo. Or like Jordan, who draped the American flag over the Reebok in the Olympics. I get it.
Right. So there are two specific uniforms in Reds history that I would absolutely love to see them bring back. And one of them is the 67 home jersey, which was the pinstriped one, like really, really pretty white, the red pinstripe. Had the darker red. And it wasn't like wasn't like the 95 jerseys that we know as the ice cream cone hat, which I do love, but it's not an attractive hat. It's not an attractive uniform. But the 67 jersey is one of my all-time favorites. So I really love that jersey. I would bring that back for the home jersey. I'll keep City Connect as this. And then for my road jersey, I actually would use the 95 road jerseys, the Barry Larkin MVP era jerseys for the road, because those ones are forever clean. The gray with the red pinstripe.
Great,
dude. Jersey, it's there's the classic picture of Dion when he cut his sleeves off and he was wearing that jersey. It's debatably the best red jersey of all time. It really is. It's so good looking. It always looks clean. I mean, Chris Sabo wore them and it looked cool. And later in his career, when he came back to the Reds, Eric Davis wore them when he came back to the Reds. I would bring that back in a heartbeat. I don't love. Okay, this is a very controversial conversation all the time. I don't hate the drop shadow on the hat, but I'm not in love with it. Like tomorrow, if they go, we're dropping the drop shadow, I'm not going to celebrate. I'm probably just going to go, okay. But if they said, hey, we're getting new uniforms, but we're keeping the drop shadow in the C, I'm probably going to go, all right, that's fine. I don't care either way. But the jersey wise, I want those back in a heartbeat. I know everyone loves the pullover Big Red Machine jerseys, and I love them for the sake of what they mean to the franchise.
Right.
Not a good looking jersey.
Yeah.
Really, really kind of boring.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about you? Did not think we'd be having this conversation, by the way, but I'm enjoying it.
But I definitely like those. I like those picks for sure. I would love to see I like the City to Connect all black.
I do too.
Part of me would love to see a all red with white lettering.
Ooh.
Like red pants, red jersey.
Like a white pinstripe down the pant leg?
A white pinstripe down the pants leg. Just an alternative jersey. Just something different. I love the 95 uniform. I had to go look up the 67, but that one's legit too, with the white with the pinstripe. So I think you're tracking on all those. But I definitely would like to see like an all red. I think that would be legit.
I always crack up when you go back and look at. So 67 is like when Bench and Rose came and Perez came up.
Yeah.
So they kind of wore those early, and then when Bench came up, they had the cream white, kind of similar. But those jerseys were wool.
Yeah, dude, hot as a mug.
You imagine wearing like a wool baseball uniform in July in Cincinnati?
Hey, listen, it's a good thing they drank beer and beer and
what
cigarettes in the dugout.
Have?
You know, I mean, what choice did they have? They wearing straight wool. That's when men were men, Tim. You know what I'm saying? When you wore wool baseball uniforms, you just sweating out all the night beer from the night before. Yeah, that's how it goes. We just wear some of them days it'd be 95 degrees, 110 on the field. And they're in wool.
At Crosley,
just sweating.
The sun beaming down on you from left field. Like,
I mean, just sweat it all out.
Gary says, can someone promote a Soto LA jersey? Yeah. Juan Soto comes to Cincinnati. That'll be one of my all-time favorite jersey memories is, you might remember this. So when the deal started, like the rumor started coming out that Griffey was coming to Cincinnati. And someone, I remember on the news, it might have been Cincy Shop. If it's not them, I apologize. Put up number 24 Ken Griffey Jr. jerseys on the rack real quick.
On the rack, yeah.
Because the deal is done. And no one knew at the point, was he going to wear 24? was Tony Perez going to let him wear 24 because he was retired? Was going to wear
Yeah.
30? And so I'll never forget just seeing, regardless what the number was, just seeing Griffey Jr. in the back of a Reds uniform. It was like, oh, that's kind of nuts. My favorite memory of all time, I've told this quite a bit on the show, is I was in the 4th grade when the trade happened. And this was when I lived in Bellevue. So where we lived in Bellevue was right around the corner from elementary school. And my gym teacher, you might know him, Sean Lehman.
I know the name. Yeah.
So he's like, hey, Tim, did you see the Reds trade for Ken Griffey Jr.? And I'm 10 years old. I'm like, what? Dude, I probably ran, I wouldn't say Deion Sanders, but I might have been Darryl Green running to my house.
Holy cow.
Flipped on Sports Center. And this was back in the day when they had the big screens behind the anchor where it had the picture of the guy. And I just see the picture of Griffey in a Reds hat. And I was like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? Just
insane.
Like as a 10-year-old, like crying, like, I can't believe it really happened.
Yeah.
Especially because the 99 team was so awesome. I want to do my dream podcast series is to just do a full 5-episode breakdown of the Griffey trade and what it really meant to Cincinnati. I don't want to get into his career.
No, but just the logistics of him being a hometown kid.
Yeah.
What it meant to that roster going into that year. Yeah, dude. Yeah.
That's like my dream podcast to do.
Yeah, because I mean, I think people that were alive during that era, they understand that. You know what I mean? They get it. Because he was a hometown kid. I mean, Moeller graduate, Midland. He was just homegrown talent. And honestly, the Reds hadn't had anybody that big in a long, long time. Yeah. So for him to want to come back to Cincinnati and his hometown team and play, when you already had like a Barry Larkin, you already had guys here that were on that roster and built around Ken Griffey Jr., who was, I'm going to say it, the best player in baseball. I mean, that wants to be a Red. You're like, geez, Pete's like, I mean, it was insane. It was insane when it broke down. When it broke, and it was insane seeing him put that Reds jersey on for the first time. You're like, geez, Pete's like the best player in baseball plays for the Cincinnati Reds.
Yeah, it was just it was insane. It was the coolest freaking moment. Even though it kind of wasn't what we wanted it to be.
No.
Talk about what you said earlier about Joey. Ken Griffey Jr. has one MVP in his career.
Yep.
Derek Jeter has none.
Yep.
And I know when I have this conversation, people are like, but Derek Jeter has the championships and Joey doesn't, and blah, 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 blah. I'm like, all right, look at Derek Jeter had in his lineup compared to Joey Votto. All right. Like after Jay Bruce and Brandon Phillips, it gets a little gross.
Yeah.
Where Derek Jeter's like, man, we lost Bernie Williams. We brought in Johnny Damon.
Johnny Damon, right? Yeah.
Yeah. You're like, what?
Yeah. I mean, if you go back through, and that's something we could deep dive to, is, and you probably know this offhand already anyway, but like just going back through and seeing outside of Jay Bruce and Brandon Phillips, how many different lineups Joey Votto played in or had people batting around him. That, you know what I mean? Like it's insane.
I joke. I've laughed about this a million times, and I've brought it up on here before. But in 2017, there were stretches of games where Joey Votto was protecting the lineup, as in the guy hitting behind him was Patrick Keevlahan.
Mm-hmm.
Guys, does anyone remember Patrick Keevlahan? His MVP year. He had Johnny Gomes and Lance Nix hitting behind him. And I love Johnny Gomes. I mean, Johnny Gomes was great was a great clubhouse guy and had some awesome moments, but like,
yeah,
come on.
I wouldn't call him protection.
Yeah. Had some cool moments. Hit some homers that I remember. 2010, the first one of the year was Johnny Gomes hit a walk-off against the Cardinals in Game 3.
Yep.
Jeff Keppinger protected Joey, was like hitting in front of him at times and hit behind him. Dude, this is that could be some really, really fun. Some really, really funny. Jack Hanahan, who I made fun of earlier, he was in Joey Votto lineups.
Yeah. I mean, think about that.
I always think about that with Aaron Rodgers, his stretch in Green Bay after they won the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
When you're like, who was the best guy that was in a huddle with him? You go, Greg Jennings?
Yeah. Devontae Adams later on, but I mean
Yeah.
that was way past whatever.
Have you caught any of Joey Votto's stuff going around on like High Heat and all that?
Mm-hmm.
Been fun.
Yeah, it has been. I'm looking forward to Joey Votto, the personality. Like, I'm really hoping that he gets on more of those like MLB shows, because here's the thing, like the personality of Joey Votto is starting to come out, but dude, the baseball analytic brain of Joey Votto will be incredible on some of those shows. Like, could you imagine him just sitting down with him and Brian Kenny and just looking at like Aaron Judge's at bats, or so just seeing what he sees and what he thinks? Like, dude, that's the part that gets me going, because guys like that see things so different. It's almost like I know people crack on Tony Romo about being an announcer and everything, but the dude knows the game so well. Like, he sees things. Like, Joey Votto would be the same way. It's kind of like you just see it. You just see it different. You understand what those guys are going through. You understand what they're thinking, and the analytical brain of Joey Votto is kind of what I would want to get into.
Yeah. So I want to make sure I catch
Waiting for the book. Yeah, that's legit.
Go some of these comments. Been cracking me up. Sydney says, I needed a pod like this with football letting me down this weekend. Believe me, Sydney, I am with you. I am with you. Larkin and Griffey, both homegrown talent. That was incredible.
Yes.
Yep. Josh Beckley Jr. is why I started going to the Reds games. I grew up a Mets fan. Fox Sports started showing games, and I was hooked. Too bad I was on a decade of losing seasons. George Gran calling Ken Griffey Jr. home runs was like, Marty Brennan did a great job with on the radio side, but George Gran calling Griffey home runs was, that's gotta be gone. Was like, just like
George Gran calling
warms my soul.
Games in general, dude. Like, he was just, George Gran doesn't get nearly enough credit. He was just incredible calling games. Like,
he really
just
was
in general.
Yeah, he totally was. Mr. Juan, Derek Jeter had better girlfriends than Joey. That counts. As far as we know, we don't know Joey kept his dating record pretty quiet.
Yeah, I was going to say, he keeps it pretty quiet. He keeps a low profile.
Yeah. I think Joey Votto I want Joey Votto hosting Jim Day with Jim Day. Yes, absolutely.
Oh, yeah. That would be awesome.
Yeah. Carrie says, I'll wait for the book. I cannot wait for that as well. That's going to be awesome. Man. But I guess real quick before we get out of here, we should touch real quick. So on the week, they have one with the Braves before they have three in St. Louis. And our guy, Nick Martinez, getting the ball tomorrow against Charlie Morton. Tuesday, you get Rhett Lowder versus Andre Palante. I don't know if they're going to go bullpen day or just go ahead and have Brandon Williamson start on Wednesday, but I'm guessing that's where they're going to go. And then our guy, Jakob Junis versus Sonny Gray, which, by the way, Sonny Gray's 2 starts against the Reds this year have not gone Sonny's way.
They have not.
You could say it's been rainy Gray.
Yes, it has.
Was that better than the Astros joke? Is the Astros joke still wet?
No, the Astros joke still hit.
Okay.
That still hit. Yeah.
Okay. Perfect. Awesome. Well, I did not think we were going to find a way to do an hour show, but we did. And that was fun. This was a really, really, really great conversation between jerseys and Joey and Griffey. But at some point, we probably got to go to bed so our wives aren't mad at us.
It's good. It's always fun.
This was awesome, and it's been a fun show. So thank you all as always for hanging out and chiming in about Juan Soto coming to the Reds. It was a great conversation.
Hey, start the hashtags now.
Juan Soto to Cincy.
Yep, Soto to Cincy. Hashtag Soto to Cincy.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm all in for it. Be sure to, as always, follow us on YouTube if you can at Riverfront Cincy, or give us a follow on Twitter at Late Reds. You see mine and Ben's personal handles here as well. Be sure to check out the Riverfront Reds show with Chad and Nate and their cast of crews. Sometimes they throw me in there to host, and I start talking about Beetlejuice. Oof, that was not a good idea.
Did you see the second one?
I did.
Disappointing?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Too much going on.
That's why I don't like remaking movies like that. Like the original Beetlejuice is such a classic, dude. Like it's hard to replicate that because it was just different for its time.
Yeah.
Like it was so cool, and the concept was so original. And Tim Burton does a really good job. Like I just didn't like even when they talking about Beetlejuice 2, I was like, like it's hard to replicate that kind of classic.
Yeah, I wanted to love it. I really
Yeah,
did.
you do. You would want
But
to.
I just couldn't. But
Yeah,
there were people in the theater that did enjoy it. It just wasn't me.
gotcha.
Yeah. But so yeah, but we did the all 80s Reds draft. Make sure you check that out. Mario Soto and John Franco are gonna make sure that whoever he has them in the order, they're not getting hits anyway. So
Nope.
But that's that. Everyone have a good week. Hopefully we're talking about another fun Reds week, or we can put some more of these crazy conversations together. So see you all then. Have a good one, and we'll talk soon.
See ya.